You didn't stumble here. You were listening for something. A voice between stations. A signal that doesn't shout, but stays. This is Strange Darkness Radio. A place where questions aren't rushed, where silence has weight, where the unexplained is given room to breathe. Welcome back, Amy. Welcome back, Mike. Welcome back, Mr. Washington. A whisper from Art Bell, somewhere out there. Something is watching. Maybe that's why you're here, because you felt it too. That quiet pull, that sense that the story isn't finished, that reality is edges we haven't traced yet. So stay with us, lean in. The signal is clear, the night is long, and we're just getting started. Still searching, still listening. This is Strange Darkness Radio.
Welcome back to Strange Darkness Radio. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Awesome.
Good.
Fantastic.
That's cool. That's cool. So, Mike, what have you been up to? What have you been into? What's been going on?
Just making some plans. My brother will be back in town soon. It's been a while since I've actually got a chance to see him since he's in the military. So he'll be coming back home for about 10 days to hang out before he's sent to his next location.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome. That's cool. That's cool. And plus, you've been doing, I want to let you know, a great job on handling the guests for the show and getting that all arranged and set up perfectly. So that's been awesome. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Just a little FYI. But Amy, what have you been up to?
Nothing much. I have just been very, very busy with work, so not much time for a whole lot of other things. But
Okay.
yeah, fun
So
stuff.
No movies, no reviews coming up, none of that stuff?
I haven't watched any movies. I did just watch what's that show on Netflix, the new one? Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen. That's what it was called, and I was not impressed. I don't know if anyone else has seen that one.
I don't think so. I
didn't even know that was a thing.
Okay. Well, I thought it was going to be very scary, and it wasn't. So, anyway, yeah. But that's about all I've had time for. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
How about
okay.
you?
Me, no, just doing show stuff. Just been busy with that, and going down avenues I probably shouldn't go down. Is what I've been doing.
Yeah. Well,
That's
isn't
neat.
that kind of part of your New Year's resolution, though, to
Oh,
do
to go down
that? Because
Yeah, I wasn't actually talking about those avenues, but definitely
okay.
we are actually, if we're talking paranormal or everything spooky and I want to say cryptids and all the rest. Yes, we will soon be doing our Ouija board session at a disclosed location opposed to an undisclosed location, which I definitely won't get into right now. But when you guys see it, it's going to be very interesting. And with that being said, we have a very special person on tonight's show, a curator of Ouija boards. And so I would say, let's go ahead and get into it. Here we go.
There are those who study the unknown. And then there are those who build it, shape it, and give it form. Tonight we meet a man who has spent a lifetime chasing the divine. Through history, through theology, through sound, through art. A former teacher, 15 years spent breaking down complex ideas, turning the hidden into something we can all understand. But some things were never meant to be simple. Now, through his sacred workshop, the Acoustic Alchemist, he creates more than objects. He creates instruments of intention, handcrafted tools, altar boards, and the infamous Ouija board. Not as toys, but as potential gateways. A musician by nature, he understands something most overlook. That vibration is language, and intention is the hand that writes it. An author of the unseen with works exploring Solomonic pentacles, angels, demons, and sacred texts yet to come. Tonight we don't just explore what these objects are. We ask what they become when belief meets creation. And when it comes to angels and demons, are we misunderstanding them? Or simply afraid to understand them at all? Step carefully, because some doors don't just open, they listen. Welcome, Emrys Abner, to Strange Darkness Radio.
Welcome, welcome. Yes. Finally, someone who can talk to us about Ouija boards other than Mike, the man himself over here, who knows a lot, but yeah, we had to get a professional. Thanks for coming on Strange Darkness Radio.
I do love them.
Yes, definitely. So let's get right into it. I mean, being a teacher, teaching, doing the whole process, how do you get from that to where you are now, either even with the shop itself or building Ouija boards, or just this whole path that you've gone down?
Well, so even in teaching, I didn't take a traditional path. I actually came to teaching, well, my first teaching job was I had a monk call me in in my dorm room in college, and I wasn't I was pretty hungover. And he said, "Hey, we've heard some good things. We'd like you to come down and teach with us in Mississippi next year. You'd have to do it through the AmeriCorps program. Is that something you'd be interested in doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, man. I don't have anything else going on, so sure."
Yeah.
And I kind of forgot that I did that, right? And then and then in July, I get a whole packet of information with some plane tickets one way.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I think that was real. I think I signed up for that.
It's like I didn't dream that.
Yeah. So I went and lived on a monastery for a year and taught, and that was my introduction into teaching. I came back from that experience because I mean, I was actually intending to return, but Hurricane Katrina ended up leveling the whole city that I had lived in down there, because we were right on the bay, and the eye of the hurricane went over our town, and there wasn't much left afterwards. So I stayed up in Minnesota and got a job with a consultancy doing leadership development and governance work, um, really focusing on like boards and school administrators and how to get them to work together and create strategic plans for districts that would kind of help launch their goals successfully. And we were doing a campaign to get other schools on board, and we were looking at just kind of like a mailing campaign, right? And the company was about to spend a couple, 30,000 dollars in this campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the folks that run the company, and I said, "Look, I think this is a really bad use of money. Like, these mailing campaigns, 98% of them are going to go straight in the garbage, right? So our return on investment is like nothing. But if you give me that money, I will start a nonprofit arm of this organization to go into schools and show, like, demonstrate that we are there to help, support their mission. And the goodwill generated from that is going to go a lot farther than this mailing campaign will.
Yeah.
And so they asked me to put together a business plan and prospectus, and so I did that. And a couple months later, we had a nonprofit up and running. It was called Discover Music, and in the course of that nonprofit, what we did is I wrote some songwriting curriculum designed to help use songwriting to teach kids how to regulate their emotional selves. And and that was kind of the bent of our program. But I also took the additional step to go get it certified by the state so kids could get middle and high school credit for it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And, you know, unfortunately, COVID kind of killed that project because teaching songwriting over Zoom to middle school kids is like impossible.
Exactly.
But it was so cool, man. We used to take the kids in and like we teach, do all this stuff. We teach them all the music theory. They'd each write a couple of songs. They'd pick their best. We'd get them into a studio. I'd bring all my music buddies by. We'd record them. We'd like put together a class album so they sounded really good. We'd do a whole CD release party with all the kids, and it was really a cool program.
Yeah.
But when I learned that that wasn't going to happen anymore, um, I kind of turned to my magic practice, and I was like, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Hmm.
And they were like, well, you're a magician and an artist, so why don't you make magic art? And I just started doing it. One
When
of
you
those
say
things.
magic, we're not talking about pulling a rabbit out of a hat. This is not
Oh,
the type of magic that we're talking about, correct?
no, no, we're talking about ceremonial magic,
Yeah.
which is, um, you know, for me, magic is really woven in with mysticism as well. In fact, I think
Mhm.
I'm probably more of a mystic than a magician.
Okay.
Um, And for those who are listening, the difference between those terminologies. So, a magician is generally someone who uses uses their own energy, which would be a thaumaturgist, or someone who borrows energy and authority from divinity, that would be a theurgist. And they use that to enact change in the real world.
Hmm.
Um, a mystic is someone who uses those exact same principles, but instead of applying them outwardly, they apply them inwardly. And they use their magical, mystical practice to become a better person and to kind of um, build up their own soul's capacity to kind of survive the trauma of death and move on to a purely spiritual existence.
Mm.
Uh,
That's Go ahead, Mike.
so when you with the practice, do you put that in? Do you use that when you make your boards?
I don't. So I'm a little different than
Interesting.
other practitioners, and there's two reasons for that. Uh, Number one is being a teacher. I am really big on everyone doing their own work, and I think I think hiring people to do magic for you is lazy,
Hmm.
especially when it's something that you can learn yourself and develop the capacity within yourself to do. And then you're better for it. You can do it yourself whenever you want. Like this, it's supposed to be a learning experience for everybody involved.
Yeah.
Second reason is my primary marketplace is Etsy, and they are really cracking down on anything metaphysical.
Oh.
So I
Oh.
make a really clear distinction between the tools that I make and the
Yeah.
magic that I do.
Mhm.
And the tools that I make they are just tools. I'm
Oh,
a
I
Right.
see.
dude that makes thing. I give it to you. I tell you how to use it, but it's up to you to use it.
Wow. I have tried to have someone put a spell on me or um do something that would aid me in this particular thing I was trying to achieve. So I am guilty of that, but it was just this
Me
one
too.
person. Okay.
I'm
Um,
laughing because I'm probably not really qualified to be, trying to put a spell on somebody.
she
So
was that person. I was just trying to keep it secret, but she just outed herself. So,
sorry, it was funny though.
but yeah, that's interesting though, because you would think that people who are creating boards, well, okay, to me, you have two sects. You have the person who creates a board because they're good at wood making. They love the whole aspect of it. Then you have the person like yourself who's very spiritual, who has, the ability to create, if he wanted to, objects that, imbued with whatever you deem you're trying to achieve with that. Um, so as a person of myself, I would be like, I want to, even is it possible to bring just all the goodness, entities to me if I buy a board from you? Can you infuse it with this or can you infuse it with that? So I do find that interesting because if anyone who who's looked at your site, or whether it's your podcast or just your books, I'm surprised you don't get more of them asking you for that, because you have the ability to do it, opposed to a lot of people won't touch stuff like that, even though they want to, hey, put that, I want to win the lottery, or I want to, be good with money or whatever. So hit me with that particular spell, or I want to find love, or I want to do this or do that. So I'm surprised that people don't often, ask that from you.
They do. They do ask me.
Okay.
And my response is usually something like, yeah, that's definitely what the board is made for. But instead of me putting myself into it and like inserting myself into your practice,
Yeah.
here's the tool. You do it. I'll
Mm.
tell you how to do it. You put your own energy into the board, and then when you call those angels and those Goetia spirits, then that's your relationship that you
Okay, you
have
just
with them.
said one word that I know I'm not familiar with, and I'm not sure if anybody on the show is.
Oh, the Goetia?
Yes. Can you tell us what that is? Is
Sure.
that
So the
demonic?
Goetia is it is most
It's like
popularly.
oh, sorry. Isn't it like a daemon and not like it's misconstrued like with the demon?
I
Or
think so, yes. So the Goetia is most popularly out in the world in a grimoire called the Lesser Key of Solomon. The Greater Key deals with the angels. The Lesser Key deals with the demons, and I do think they're mislabeled. I think demon is a really unnecessarily harsh word. I think the word daemon is closer to it, so Daemon, because the word daemon just means teaching spirit, and there's no moral alignment assumed there.
Yeah.
Um,
isn't
and
it?
if you
Aren't
look
they
at the
aligned with? Oh, sorry. I was just gonna. Aren't they aligned with like the teachings as well, like the charting of stars or something? Or am I mishearing that? Like, because I've heard something like
No, 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 you
they.
got it.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got it right. I mean, a lot of them, if you look at their powers, the powers that are listed in the lesser key, some of the powers are kind of nasty,
Mhm.
but almost all of them have like underneath that nasty power, they'll say something like teaches the arts of astronomy and astrology and the the virtue of stones, or teaches you rhetoric and diplomacy, or like they all have this teaching aspect to them, which is one of those reasons why I think they're mislabeled, because if you've got a demon, if you've got something that is like truly evil, they are not going to want to teach you about different bird species and how to recognize them. They're
Yeah.
not gonna like, you know, their aim is gonna be to destroy you, to do
Mhm.
something, to do evil things, right?
To
They're not gonna be
manipulate
like,
and misguide.
yeah, like I want to do all this evil stuff, but wait, before we do that, I need to teach you the art of debate. Like,
Hmm.
they're not
So
going to do that.
that brings up, I think, a question that we had. There's like a lot of different belief systems when it comes to demons. So would you say that demons are all inherently negative, or they're all bad? Like, or do you think it's maybe a misunderstanding that people have about demons?
I think it's a misunderstanding based on how they're approaching the demon, right?
Hmm.
Um, because if you approach something with fear and trepidation and this assumption that it's this powerful being that's going to rip you limb from limb if you don't do everything exactly right in the grimoire, I mean, don't be surprised if that's what you get.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
if instead you approach them like, hey, I think you're pretty cool, and I'd like to get to know you. And I also have this thing I would like some help with. Do you think you could help me out with that? Most of the time, they're like, you know what? You're pretty cool too. I think I can help you with that. Sure.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's kind of like what, the party is whatever you bring to the party.
Hmm. That's fascinating. No, because I've always just, when I hear the word demon, like just horror, like horrible images run through my head. So this is kind of like the first time I've heard that it depends on what you believe and how you're approaching them, that they could be something, I guess, helpful in your life, which is opposite of the way I've heard them portrayed or seen them portrayed, all of my life. So that is fascinating to hear.
Yeah, I'll give you a little story. One time I was, well, I won't say the name of the demon I was conversing with, in case they want it to be, secret. But we were having a conversation, and I was like, "All right, well, that was great. Thanks. I gotta go make dinner now." Um,
Wait,
and he was like, "Wait,
one
wait, wait,
quick
wait,
question. One quick question. Was that
yeah,
in a Ouija board session or not a Ouija board session? Okay.
in a Ouija board session, yeah." I usually use it alone, like you're not supposed to.
Oh, okay.
So I'm having this discussion on my Ouija board, and I'm like, hey, yeah, I gotta go. Great discussion. Thanks for hanging out. And he's like, wait, wait, wait. One more thing. He's like, when you go back inside, he's like, I know you love your family. I know they love you, but you don't tell each other that enough. So when you go inside, make sure you tell everyone how much you love them.
Hmm.
And I was like, that's your advice? He's like, it's good advice, man. Take it.
Wow. That is
Um,
interesting.
So I think
So,
like
yeah.
oh sorry, go ahead, Amy.
no, go ahead, Mike.
Because I like here currently, like you and me are the only ones who have used a Ouija board. These two have, or I believe Amy said she used one when she was like real young.
Yeah,
But
I've used
Bobby
one.
has not used one yet, and
Not at
I'm
all.
trying to convince him to use one when we have this planned Ouija session. What kind of advice would you give Bobby for his first time ever doing it?
Ah, all right.
And it's
So,
also for our listeners too, who probably never used one or probably interested in using it,
Or
but
scared to death about using it like Amy again.
I am.
so
I'm
that is
terrified.
the first thing I would say is take all that fear, all that stuff that you think you know about them, and
Hmm.
push it away.
Wow.
Um,
Hmm.
they are not scary. They are not evil. They are not bad. They are not a portal. Um, it is
Wow.
it
That's
is
fascinating, I gotta say, because all I've heard on the people that we've interviewed on this show is that do not do it. It's a portal. You're inviting bad things into your home, into your life. So this is like completely opposite of what we've all heard, I think.
Yeah, because all the like those myths about Ouija boards came from Hollywood movies about Ouija boards, where
Hmm.
like the intent was to scare the audience because it was a horror movie, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so the people writing those horror movies, they're not magic practitioners. They don't know. They're
Yeah.
they're using the Ouija board as a plot device, kind of
Yes.
like kind of like a tricorder in Star Trek. Like, what's the point of a tricorder? to move the plot along.
Yeah.
Right.
And just for
Would
the
you,
record, I was going to say that you're the first practitioner, let alone the creator who actually creates Ouija boards on the show. So, just FYI to the community out there.
Mhm.
Well, I'm glad to have this chance to talk about them because I think they're really great tools. Um, like tarot decks or pendulums, they don't get weird about those.
Yeah.
Um, but they operate on the same principle. They all operate on the same principle, which is that your body, your mind, and by extension your body is itself a conduit to the spiritual world. Like that's what we do when we have mediumistic experiences, when we talk to the dead, when we even like if you're not a magic practitioner, when you pray, that's what you're tapping into. You're tapping into that same part of yourself, that spark of the divine that connects us to the web of all other living everything. Um, and and so when you are tapping into that and you're using a Ouija board or a pendulum or some tarot cards, um, your hands are just basically an extension of that energy, and they're creating a physical manifestation of what's already happening in your brain.
Mm.
Mm. So is it fair to say then, so depending on what one person believes, like if you think of it as a scary negative thing, that's what you're going to get out of it. And if you go into it with a positive mindset, then you'll get like the complete opposite.
Bingo.
Okay.
'Cause I don't know if you've heard, because I had on my first ever episode when I came on the show, I did talk about mine, and when we did ours was strictly like with respect and like reaching out to a single. So apologies. We were reaching out to someone. There was never any bad vibe or anything we did when we did ours. Like the first time we did it, we didn't get anything on the first session. Second session was immediately afterwards, and we got in contact with hopefully the one we were attempting to contact, but nothing negative ever came of it afterwards from me after that. But I've heard friends and family who've played with it and they've had bad experiences, and I think, like you said, they might just been having the watching horror movies where there's like, oh, it's the Ouija board has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing that people make a mistake with Ouija boards is they open it up and say, "Who wants to talk?"
Mm.
Well, here's the thing about the spiritual world. It's not that different from the real world. Some people are dicks and some spirits are dicks too. And so you get a spirit on the board that's like, "Oh, these are first timers. Oh, I'm going to get them so good." Right? And and they have fun with you and they scare you because it's funny to them. Um so that's why like if you're going to use a Ouija board for for magic, for personal development, know who you're going to contact, call
Yeah.
them by name, and do something to verify it. So,
Mm.
like,
That's what I did for mine.
um, yeah, so then you know who you're talking to. And a lot of times I use the Ouija board to talk to angels. And over time, we've developed our own little code words or inside jokes that only they and I know. So
That's
when
cool.
I basically ask them for a safe word.
Oh
And
wow.
when they know the safe word, then I know who I'm talking to.
So are these particular angels that you're talking to, the classic, whether it's Michael or, which particular angels? I mean, you don't have to say if you don't want, but
Oh, no, there's hundreds, thousands. I mean, of the ones that we know, right?
yeah.
But in reality, the number of angels is beyond counting.
Mhm.
So, but yes, certainly the named archangels people are familiar with. So, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, Metatron, Sandalphon. There are a couple other archangels people are not as familiar with, like
Mhm.
Raguel, Hamuel, Haniel, Jophiel, Ariel. Um, and then there's 72 Shem Hammaphorash angels, which
Mm.
actually, remember I said earlier there were 72 demons in the Goetia?
Yeah.
Well, there's 72 angels in the Shem Hammaphorash, and to contact those demons and those angels, each one of them is connected as a pair, and the invocatory psalm, so like the psalm that you say to call them, is the same for the demon and the angel,
Hmm. That's interesting.
which is which is why my next book about 72 angels and demons is about using them as pairs
Mhm.
instead of using the angel to constrain the demon, which is the traditional Solomonic approach. Um, I'm like, they don't need to be constrained, they need to work together
Yeah.
because they're two sides of the same coin. And like everything else in life, there is light and there is darkness, and they need each other.
Hmm.
So why would this be any different?
Yeah. Where do you find that type of information? Because the typical person is going to call for some demon or the devil himself, opposed to you know uh these particular angels. Where can they find that type of information if someone's looking to do that?
Yeah, I mean, if you just type in angels of the Shem Hammafarash, or even like Shem Hammafarash is a big word. You can just
Yeah.
type in Shem, Shem, Shem angels. There's tons of books out there on them. Um, they're really cool to work with. They're very personable. They've each got a kind of a domain of experience or expertise.
Yeah.
Mm. So the is using a Ouija board like the only way that you can communicate with them, or are there other ways that you're able to do that?
No, I think the way that you communicate with them is really like dependent upon what your spiritual skill set is.
Hmm.
So, you've probably heard of like um, clairvoyance, which means clear seeing. So, people who are clairvoyant can see things with their eyes. There's also clairaudient. People can hear things. Um, my spiritual talent is that I'm claircognizant. So, all of a sudden, things will just pop into my brain, and I just know them.
Oh wow.
And
Like the
that's how I
information was sent
communicate
to
with
you.
angels. They like they like give me little information downloads. Um, I'll ask them a question and I'll wait, and all of a sudden this like it's a very particular feeling that's hard to describe, but all of a sudden I'll get this like fire hose of information and then go, oh, yep, yep, I get what you're saying. I get it now.
Have you
You
always
know,
had that ability before the boards, before you creating all this?
not until I started working with a couple of friends who were psychic mediums who were like, "Oh, that weird feeling you've been having, that's what that is."
Yeah.
So until I knew what it was consciously, I wasn't able to use it consciously.
Hmm. That is interesting. Man, so have you ever had an experience with the board that you just couldn't explain, or the board did something, the whole planchette moving, all that stuff by itself, that's a Hollywood situation?
Sort of, but that's also how it works. It doesn't move on
Well,
its
no, no,
own.
no. I'm talking about no hands. I'm talking
Oh,
about some, fantastical type stuff that people say that actually happens to them when they're using it, especially when they're using it by themselves.
yeah, I've had lights do weird things. I've had doors slam. Um, you know, really pretty light stuff.
Mhm.
Usually, one thing that I find that happens kind of a lot is what happens after I do a session with the spirit is I'll come out of my workshop here, and there will be a family of deer sitting on my front lawn.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
Like the deer sense what's going on, and they come and they gather to be part of it.
Yeah.
Uh, so I
Um,
have a follow up to like what Bob asked. Have you ever had someone like when someone ordered a board from you? Has someone ever returned the board because they were like, hey, weird things have happened since I've gotten this thing. I don't want it anymore. Or like have people sent something back saying like nothing has happened. This is this like or anything like that.
not to date, no.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
No. I hope they're happy with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious though, like what makes a Ouija board work? Like, sometimes you get people that, oh yeah, I've been trying to play with my Ouija board and nothing ever happens. Like what do you people need to do to get anything out of them?
You need to push your brain to the side. The conscious part of you, especially when you're first starting to use these tools, the part of yourself that is seeking verification is because then, when you're using the board, you're not thinking about connecting with the spirit. You're thinking about making the spirit prove it exists.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually stops that flow of communication because you're analyzing, you're not experiencing.
Yeah.
So I think I'll be a conduit, which is not the same as like allowing possession. I don't advocate for that. But allowing yourself to be a conduit for the purposes of communication, yeah, you gotta quiet your mind, and then sometimes you have to be willing to sit for a long time waiting for an answer, which is not indicative of the spirit's inability to communicate or your need to develop that talent, that skill.
Has one of these entities ever tried to possess you or asked to take possession of your body?
Or even like house themselves
No.
inside your Ouija boards?
No, I set pretty firm boundaries, and like the way that I set up my workshop here, I set it up as an open door policy for angels. So I'm like, y'all can fly in and fly out whenever you want,
Yeah.
and you're always welcome in my home. Other spirits, no, you need to knock and be let in. Like I, I don't trust you, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because again, they were
And
like
they get
human.
that too.
Yeah, because they were human in nature, so they're gonna do what a human would do if it's like, oh, like this guy's giving me free access to his home. Yay.
Yeah. And if there's a spirit out there that's trying to abuse what I'm doing, again, the open door policy means that, something's going down. There's a whole team of angels that show up and they're like, don't screw with this guy. Like cut it out. And they've got my back, and I trust that they have my back, which is why they still have my back.
So when you start like a Ouija board session, is it true that you're supposed to, set your intentions? Like say, if I allow you to come, you can't do anything bad to me, or you can't take over me, that kind of thing? Or is that just a lot of Hollywood fluff? And then, you have to close it out, or else, you're going to be haunted, that kind of thing that we've heard about.
Yeah, I think so. So what they're describing there is like they're basically saying use the Ouija board as part of a ritual. And in ritual structure, there is purification, then there is appeal to authority if you are a theurgist. If you're a thaumaturgist, then your authority is yourself. And then there is setting calling the spirit, setting the intention, creating the boundary, creating the container in which you're going to work, and then, license to depart or closing it out, so that they know the show's over. And that is the same structure that is in just about every ritual everywhere. It's the same structure that's in the Catholic Mass, right? Because they all basically come from the same family tree. So yeah, so when somebody's putting those rules in there, they're just kind of describing what a ritual is without saying the word ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say just listening to you talk about the Ouija board, it makes it seem less fearful, like less of a scary thing.
Less ominous.
Yeah, so
just
I
remember
wanted
that,
to ask.
Amy.
Yeah, I was going to ask
remember.
Bobby, does that mean
What?
you're gonna try the Ouija board then, with hearing all that we're hearing today?
It's possible, which I already stated that, but the question you should ask yourself that question to where, does it make you, more okay with it? Because I do love how Emery's saying it's a tool, and your intention of what you put out there is what you're going to get back, and who knows? Yes, if you're putting out light and you want to have a conversation with whatever entity, it's possible, and let's see what happens with it. But Emrys, when is the first time you ever used a board? How young were you, or old for that matter?
I gotta say, it was probably in my late teens.
Okay.
Um, we had a band, and so we the guys in the band got together, and we were having a sleepover at my parents' house, and we decided to get out a Ouija board and contact Jim Morrison and Jimi Hendrix, because why not?
Nice.
Jim Morrison was weird and flippant, as you could imagine him being.
Oh,
Like,
came through.
Yeah. He was just kind of like, I don't even know what I'm doing here, man. Like, where am I? What is
What?
And so we didn't talk to him so much. Jimi Hendrix was more conversational, and then something he said actually ended up coming true. He We kind of asked him, like, what's the future for us as musicians? What's the future for this band? What's the future for and at the time I really, really wanted to be a lead guitar player, like, because that was cool.
Yeah.
And Jimmy's like, not only is this band not going to last, most of you will not be musicians, and you will never be a lead guitar player. You're always going to be a rhythm guitar player and a singer. And I was like, a singer? What are you talking about? I hate singing. Well, guess what I do for a job now? I play rhythm guitar and I sing, and I love it.
Wow. That's awesome.
He was totally right. I've never developed my lead chops. I've never been good at that. But rhythm, I can do that.
Yeah.
And singing to me now is like, every time I do a show, it's like I get to pray for 3 hours,
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have so we recently had an episode that we released that we did. I had brought one up called Ritual Games that I led. So one of the games on there was, I don't know if you're familiar with the game. It's called Kokori-san. It's Japan's version of the Ouija board, and theirs is like they generally, from what I found in my information, you don't need a board. It's more like just get like any kind of parchment you can write on. You get like you make a red torii gate at the top, yes and no on both sides. Use the kanji, and obviously, and then use the numbers at the bottom. But they don't really have a goodbye on theirs. There's, and the spirit that they always talk to isn't, you're not speaking to, you're not trying to speak to angels, demons, or even trying to reach loved ones. You're speaking to a specific creature called kokori, which is like an amalgamation of like 3 different animals. And that you have, that was something I was interested. I was like, man, I wonder if he's heard of that.
I haven't, but it would make sense. So they're connecting with kind of like a land spirit.
It's like a trickster spirit in a sense. So it's, whenever they say like you speak to it, you kind of have to give it respect as you would like you're opening up this gateway for it. But they were like, yeah, like it'll tell you truths sometimes, but it's also a trickster by nature. So he might give you like some false information just to mess you, but none of it's malicious. It's just because he's a trickster.
Yeah.
But it was one that we had covered, and I was like, oh yeah, this is one of the questions I really want to ask him if he's heard about.
That makes
I
me...
haven't, but I do avoid trying to speak to spirits that are known tricksters, mostly just because it's annoying trying to figure out if they're telling the truth or not.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
but and instead of a planchette, they use a 10 yen coin as their guide, and they mostly say like to play it like in a I guess you could play it outside, but I've mostly seen where it says you just have to play indoors with a window open or a door open because that's letting it walk into the room or get into the room so it can have the conversation with you, as opposed to being in a
Mm-hmm.
completely enclosed room.
Hmm. Yeah, hearing about that Japanese game makes me wonder, does that mean that anyone can create something that's like a Ouija board and it'll work? Because if you set the intentions for that, like it doesn't have to actually be a Ouija board, but like if I wanted to do something with cardboard or something like that, like is that possible? Like it doesn't
Oh
have
yeah,
to
I've done it.
actually be. Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I've put an alphabet on a napkin and used a penny.
Hmm.
Oh, and
So,
it actually moved the penny? Oh my goodness.
uh,
Okay.
so
Because
Bobby,
the
did you
tool is
say?
the
Oh,
tool is me,
Yeah.
right?
right.
The conduit is
Oh.
me,
Mm-hmm.
and when you're using it, the conduit is you. So,
Yeah.
um, so whether you're drawing cards or you're doing a planchette or you're moving something on a board to spell something out, um, the real thing doing the magic is you.
Yeah.
Right, because Bobby, you said the old co-host Tony would make his own, right?
Yeah, yeah. He would make them from scratch. Do it on a napkin, like you said. You could do it on anything.
So I did have a quick.
Hmm.
Do you have any feelings towards the Ouija boards they sell like at like stores and stuff, like the kids, like it being marketed as a kids game?
Yeah, or even well, add to that. What's your opinion on handcrafted boards? Are they more powerful? Or are they exactly the same, opposed to the Parker Brothers?
Yeah, I think the manufacturer. I don't know that it really matters. I mean, I think
Hmm,
whether it's a powerful tool or not depends on who's doing the work.
got it.
Right.
Um, and as far as it being a kid's toy, I think it's great. Like kids are already really spiritually attuned anyways, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
so
very true.
so let them have fun with it. Let them explore and experiment. And I mean, when we're kids, the world is so large and so fantastic and so like wonderful and magical until the experience of living in it beats that magic out of us. And one of the things we try and do as magicians is relearn that sense of wonder. Um, we call it quintessence, which means essentially like the fifth essential element. So you'll hear a lot of like witches especially talk about calling in the four elements of air, water, earth, fire. Well, the reason why they do that, and the reason why on a magical altar you'll see salt for earth,
Yeah,
incense for air, candle for fire, and water for water, um, is that the presence of those four elements creates a vacuum that invites in the fifth, which is spirit, which is quintessence, the fifth essence, and this blah blah blah. The embodiment of quintessence is like marvel and splendor at the world. So when you're on a mountaintop looking at a sunset, that's quintessence. And when we get like the ability to kind of generate that feeling at will or find something in the room or in wherever we are that we can focus on and get that feeling and conjure it up,
yeah.
that's what makes our magic strong.
So, have you always been this way, or is this something that you learned in just life's, trials and experiences?
I learned it, yeah. I've always been a spiritual person,
Hmm.
but I was raised Catholic, so being a spiritual person was like you could be spiritual, but only in this way, this very
Yeah,
narrow way. Um, and like I tried doing the professional thing, office job, whatever. I tried doing the nonprofit thing and getting involved in charity work and all. And no, man, I had like there was always something missing, and um, it wasn't really till I got into magic that I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to be like a weird ass dude.
Yeah.
That's like that's like my thing, right?
Yeah,
I
you're
just get
supposed to,
into
yeah.
all this weird stuff that you know I get into it because I think it's fun because I like it because I find it interesting, and not everybody does. Like I spent a good part of my day looking through like an Aramaic text created in the 1400s looking for a particular passage, and it took me like 8 hours, but I really kind of enjoyed the hunt. And some people would find that so boring and so dumb, but I kind of look at it as this is my chance to peek behind the veil and
Exactly.
to like try and understand the deeper mysteries of the universe, and this is the work that it takes to do that.
Yeah, and that's so interesting because to me, I believe that's why we're actually on the planet. It's not to obviously work a 9 to 5 to, do this whole machine that we're all, turned up in and you know, wash, rinse, and repeat. But it's actually to find, your spirituality and to, why you're here and, go on a journey, a soul journey. And we are taken off that path just based upon the things that you have to, worry about your day to day lives. So again, electronics and all this stuff is great and fine, but it does detract. But people like yourself are able to still find a way to, g- seek this energy and this information, which I think is awesome because a lot of people deem it as taboo and they won't even touch it.
Yeah, well, and there's another side too. Like there are some people who get so mystical that they're above it all,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, yeah, pondering esoteric texts is really fun, but you still need to do the dishes,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
um, and also
That's
like
funny.
if your mystic experience is taking you to a place where you're so above the cares of humanity that you stop caring about humanity,
Yeah.
then I think you're doing it all wrong, man. Like when you're having a mystical experience and you're trying to draw your soul closer to God, you you should be more compassionate. You should be more empathetic. You should be more loving. It should change you. It should
Exactly.
make
Yeah.
you into like a person who wants to fight for what is right and
Yeah.
not a person who says, yes, I mean, I care about injustice, but I'm not willing to do anything about it. No, a real mystic puts their body in between the oppressors and the oppressed and
Mhm.
says that you will go this far and no further. Like that that is mysticism in action,
That's
I think.
that's really good to hear because a lot of people will be like, "Oh no, it's doom and damnation and you should be talking about, trying to you're sitting in the basement trying to bring back the antichrist." That's the whole movie horror thing and so that's awesome to even hear because Ouija board and what you just said don't even supposed to go together as far as you let other people tell it. So I think that's pretty awesome.
And I think they totally do.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I think the reason why they were separated is because when you approach spirituality from a mystical way,
Hmm.
then you don't need those intermediaries. You don't need the priestly class. All those priests that were writing those holy books would have been out of a job had
Yeah,
they published the books that act like if you look at the gospels that didn't make it into the New Testament, most of them talk about how Jesus was a mystic teaching people you don't need a priest. You can go
yeah,
straight to God and here's how you do it. And like it was very about much about personal responsibility, social responsibility, and like inner righteousness, developing that and developing a one-to-one relationship. Now, you're not gonna hear that from somebody whose job is dependent on being the person in the middle of that.
Hey, that's very true.
So I have to ask, just because what you make, uh, what'd you think of the Ouija board movies? Like, were those like ones you're like, oh man, they just got this. This is a complete movie magic. The like, did those movies just kind of sour it for you?
If you've ever seen any
If
of
you've seen them,
I
yeah.
mean,
'Cause I haven't seen a lot.
Witchboard.
I can suspend disbelief enough to like sit and watch it and be like, that was fun, you
Yeah.
know.
Right.
But then if somebody goes, yeah, is that really how you use Ouija boards? I'm like, oh hell no. um,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
they're,
well,
they're
well,
they're much more benign than I think
yeah.
folks
Yeah.
make them out to be.
Well, with that being said, what is the one rule you believe people should never break when using a board, either
Mm,
alone or with other people? If there's even one.
don't lie.
That's really good. I can
I
see
mean,
Amy
that's
lying
a
a
good
lot
rule. Also.
on that
Yeah.
board.
You can see me lying a lot
Yes,
with a
because they'll
Ouija
ask you
board.
questions. You're like, no, that's not true. No, that wasn't me.
Yeah,
No,
well,
that's somebody.
what happens if you do lie? Just asking for a friend.
I mean, I don't know that anything's going to happen, but I think like if you want to get accurate answers about things, you got to be honest with yourself and you got to be honest with the people you're talking to.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And if they're
Uh,
angels, they probably know.
they do know, and they know that you're lying, and they know that you're covering up, and you know, you've talked to someone before when you know they're lying, and you're
Mhm.
just trying to get them to admit that they're lying.
Mhm.
Keep dropping little hints. Angels will do that.
I'm
Yeah.
giving you a chance to come clean.
Yep. And
Um,
um, and if they catch you, they're not going to punish you, but they're kind of like, I am disappointed though.
That's funny.
so one thing we did, the three of us had talked about, because we were planning on doing this with one other person to do the Ouija session, and one question that Bobby and Amy had was because I'll be using it first, and since they're going to be in the room, they want to know like the chance, like what to do, like can they ask questions even though they're not actually touching the planchette?
Good one.
Sure.
Yeah, because I always, because when they asked me about it, I told them, I was like, yeah, I don't see the reason why you couldn't, because sometimes the board will want to talk to the people who aren't actually touching the planchette.
Mm-hmm.
And would it be
Yeah.
better for like if once it starts asking like if it spells out like Bobby, like I want to talk to Bobby, would Bobby need to like, hey, like you need to put your hand on the planchette, or would he be fine just to not be like touching it and still give us responses?
I mean, yeah, you could think of it like a telephone, right? You could relay the message that you got, or you could just hand Bobby the phone.
Right.
Bobby might not get on the phone. Just no. You know what? To be honest, and again, honesty, Amy. I would say after hearing you about this and how it's used as a tool and what you can actually do with it, I definitely feel way better in trying it out than I was before this conversation, for sure.
Good.
Because I
Yeah.
did get a Ouija board made from, who do we get it, Mike? Mike wanted it, and I was like, okay, I'll get it. And that board came, and it's still in the cardboard, and it had 13 written all over it, which was odd. And it's in my like foyer area, and it hasn't been touched since it arrived, which has probably been at least almost a month and a half, if not 2 months. And it's still, I have not touched that board.
Yeah, because initially he just didn't want to even like open it at all. Like we were gonna, then he was like, you know what, we're gonna save it when we actually have the Ouija board session and do a live unboxing.
That's a good idea. Now, was it a 13 or was it a B?
No, it's 13.
Yeah, it's two. It's you could tell they wrote 13.
Maybe
Yeah, I
somebody
would.
was playing a joke on you, though, like a family member.
well,
They
I-
didn't know what. No. This came from the post office that way, and they had no clue of what it is. It's just,
Oh,
square.
I just think it like I was telling Bobby is like I think it's just like the person like this is like number 13 of like their product like they've made this is their 13th one like they're keeping track like this is their way of keeping track or something like that.
I don't know. I never asked the maker if he wrote on it. Actually,
Well, it's a two-part. It's a half the board is a Ouija board, the other half is a divination board. Like so, it's like 2 in 1.
was that entity or what's happening?
no. I was looking for
Okay.
a board because I was gonna read you something
Oh, okay.
that is on one of my boards that you could use
Hmm.
in your session. So I think it would bring some comfort because one of the things that I do would be it's a really simple thing you can do at the start of any session is I like to just ask Archangel Michael to watch over what's going on and just say like, if any shenanigans start to go down, can you please step in and make it right? And and he does. Like that's like protecting humans is kind of his thing.
Right. That's why I'm very proud of my name.
That's a good one.
So,
let people know about your Etsy store, and you have your books. I definitely want to, if you have the time, have you back because I want to get into the whole angels and demons aspect. Because it's like you were saying earlier. I think everybody frowns upon how demons are portrayed in the sense, at least the people I have on here, they're like, no, demons aren't, they're, it's this way, it's that way. So I am curious on your interpretation of angels and demons, just like you said, with the kind of the yin and the yang or the opposite of two different coins. Is it truly that way or is it, no, be afraid, be truly afraid.
well, we can certainly talk about that more, and I'd love to because it's such a rich topic, and everybody's got their opinion about it, and certainly mine is not the end all be all. It's just one person's experience, but it is a really fascinating topic, and I'm going to share this with you. So this is a little invocation or prayer that's on I put on it's called my angelic protection board.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the board, there are several different angelic seals designed to impart protection onto the owner. And underneath it, on like etched into the board with laser, is this little prayer. It says, Metatron, Sandalphon, Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, Zadkiel, Zafkiel, Samael, Hanael, Cassiel, Anael, Azrael, and all the angels protect this board and its user. Let no malicious beings or intentions influence the words shared here. Let only truth be spoken. Let all communication be for the highest good. Let it be clear, without confusion or ambiguity. May no false identities present themselves. This is my absolute will. I seal this request by the words. And then there's a couple of divine names, which I don't utter aloud except in ritual.
Oh, wow. Okay, see, that's where we should have got our board from.
Well, you
Mike.
you can definitely get the second one, and that one can be the one that like we still use the other one, but like that's the one that we like. I think like you would more have like out to I especially want to see like some like most to go to your Etsy shop and look at all your boards because I might just buy one for myself.
Yeah, exactly. Do you customize your boards or?
If people want, sure, I'm open to it. I like custom work.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Because that was one of the questions I was gonna have but it got lost. But thank you for answering it. Like, is there protections you put on the board? Like, and you just answered that first. Thank you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sometimes I bake them in. Sometimes I just say, "Hey, here's a thing you can say." But I thought that having an angelic protection board might help some people kind of get over that fear of them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they realize, hey, this is just a spirit communication tool like any other, and it's really fast and it's really easy, and it's really helping my practice. Like I
Yeah.
think they're all going to benefit from that.
Nice. Well, I'll
Awesome.
definitely be ordering a board. So, maybe that'll be the one I actually open and keep.
It's safe,
Yeah.
I promise.
So one of the things, like one of the myths I always heard about Ouija boards too, maybe there's a couple, but the two I had, someone always said like you're never supposed to actually lift the planchette off the board and look through it, like the monocle. And then the other one is never to really have them displayed. They should always be covered.
Well,
Like I was about to
mine are
say,
just stacked on a shelf
yeah,
back.
Yeah.
I was like gonna say there's a problem with that.
Well, that's what I mean, because like I always hear, because that's what you hear, like as far whether our listeners, like, because if that's something similar they've heard or anything of that nature, like that's always the ones like I've always heard was like, yeah, you should never have them like openly displayed. They should always be covered in their box or something. That way they're not like, because if it's open, like something can still use the board actively while it's being displayed, and never like to use the planchette to like look through it, because you might see something through it, since that's what that tool is being used for.
That's like kind of setting the intention that it's bad then if you're looking at it that way. That,
Yeah,
if
that's what I mean. That's why I'm glad he's here, so if we can
yeah,
like to be cleared up, that because like a lot of
right.
people have like the movie
Hmm.
idea in their head of like, oh yeah, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah, because that's all we've ever heard, right? That's all I've ever heard.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this has actually been really eye-opening for me, and just hearing another perspective, and it just doesn't seem as scary
So
anymore.
now
No,
you could put down your
I'm
tarot
not
cards.
saying no.
Wait a
I
minute.
am
Wait a
not.
minute. No, you use tarot cards.
I have. You're right. No, I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I have tarot
No,
cards.
I'm
I've gone
that's what I'm
to a
saying.
tarot
So
reader. Yes.
yeah,
No,
so
you're correct. And
it's the
the way
same.
Emrys, compared them, just like as a communication tool, does make sense
Yeah.
actually. But yeah, I think it's just
But
I've had too much Hollywood ingrained in my mind, and so there's still that scared ass. I'm still kind of scared, just
yeah.
less scared now, I will say.
Mm,
Yeah. Well, I mean, so since you are the true tool, when you're not using the board, it's just a piece of cardboard with letters on it.
mm,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, until you start using it, it does nothing on its own.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I wouldn't really worry about that. And like as far as looking through it, I mean, the planchette that I use now for most things is just I have like a piece of quartz that's about this big that's kind of shaped like a teardrop.
Oh, nice.
And I use that because I can use it one-handed. And
Oh,
so I can be Ouija boarding with one hand and have a book in the other. And
Uh,
um and I look through that all the time because it's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty awesome.
Well, because I've heard too that like certain like the quartz, like the I can't remember, the mother of pearl is like a good protection quartz that people sometimes use as an inlay on their board to ward off specifically things that are like evil.
Yeah. Well, there's another thing that I have too. So this uh this is like if you're going to get into doing magic, one of the things that is good to have around is something called a fifth pentacle of Mars. This comes from the Solomonic magic tradition. The fifth pentacle of Mars. If you guys, any of you watch Supernatural?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. One of my favorite shows ever. Do you remember that one of the sigils that Sam and Dean drew all the time was that scorpion inside of a circle?
Mm-hmm.
So they called it a demon trap because that's exactly what it is.
Oh, wow.
That is a
Nice.
real thing. Okay. So some of the time the guys like the writers from Supernatural did do their homework, and that's one of the times. So that seal is the fifth pentacle of Mars, which is also called affectionately the demon trap. And spiritually, it's the equivalent of like walking into a bar full of spirits with a sheriff badge and a gun in a holster.
Ooh,
You're walking in and you're like, I've got authority, and if you guys step out of line, I'm going to use it. And you don't want me to do that. And so I find that just having one nearby makes them behave.
Oh wow.
that's cool.
And if they don't behave, you use the pinnacle, you bind them, you send them on their way. And it's really not a big deal.
I need to get me one of those.
You
I
can
think,
make them out
but
of paper too. Like if you don't want to get a metal talisman or one, you just make them out of paper.
Mhm. I'll
Um,
definitely be looking for that. But I do have a tattoo of a sigil and wards off evil also, which I believe has worked for me a couple of times, actually.
mhm.
Because something happened, I was praying, nothing was occurring, but then I started thinking about the sigil and whatever was happening stopped happening. So that was really interesting. Interesting.
That's magic, man.
Yeah. Yep. And all right, well, let's start to wrap up. You guys have any further questions?
no, just definitely want to have you on again in the future because this was like I feel like we
Yeah,
asked a lot and there's
Yeah,
still
we had a
so much
ton of
more
questions.
like we
Yeah.
would love to ask you. So definitely I'll definitely be in contact with you again at a later date when we have an opening to get to hopefully get you on the show again.
Really appreciate it. Tell us
Well,
about your books though that you have.
okay. Yeah. Well, so I don't forget, I really like being on the show. You guys are all lovely
Oh,
people,
thank
and
you.
this is a lot of fun.
Who are you picking up negative energy from? Let us know.
Why are you
Nobody did.
asking that?
So I've got one book out now called Solomonic Pentacles. Um, and it is basically the way I like to describe it is Solomonic magic is a really, really deep dive for a lot of people, and there's a lot of stuff to read and a lot of stuff to understand, and it can seem really overwhelming. So I tried to create a shallow end of the pool so that people can kind of wade in at their own comfort and get into using the magic without being put off by all of the archaic language and ceremonial pageantry and stuff, which once you're a more advanced practitioner you may choose to add those things,
Yeah.
but when you're just starting out it's like, man, isn't there just a simple way to try this without having to like read a billion books? Okay, so that's Solomonic Pentacles. The next one that's coming out is going to be 72 Angels and Demons, pairings for ceremonial magic. And that is going to be, like I said, talking about using those Shem angels and the Goetia spirits as two sides of a coin. So you've got your lightness and your darkness. Um, and also included in there is a 100 to 150 so page primer on Kabbalah. So if
Mm.
people are not familiar with the terms and the kind of the structure of Kabbalah and the Tree of Life glyph and what all that stuff means, I go pretty, I try to keep it as brief as I can, realizing that like thousands of books have been written on this subject. So it's pretty big. So
Yeah.
I just try and do it as quick as I can because that tree of life glyph is what we use in the second half of the book to analyze those pairs and determine what their function is as a team. Um, and then the third book I'm working on is with a couple of other authors. Um, there is an Ozark roots practitioner and a hoodoo practitioner from New Orleans,
Mm.
and I'm the guy who's doing the ceremonial magic commentary. But it's going to be a magical psalter, which means we are all providing commentary on each one of the 150 psalms, and then there is a spell or ritual to use that psalm with
Yeah.
that comes from our, not necessarily our generational tradition, but a lot of times it's coming from our personal tradition and how we use them.
Mhm.
So it's going to be a cool book in its own right, but it also has the secondary effect of demonstrating to other people in the magical esoteric community, like, we don't need to argue about whose tradition is better or who's got it right or who's got it wrong. Instead, we have these diverse folk ways and diverse ways of believing, and we can look at the same thing, see it completely differently, and instead of trying to argue about who's right, look at each other and go, "That's really interesting. What can I learn from you about this?" And just change that conversation. So I think it'll be good on two fronts.
Yeah, that's
That's
amazing.
awesome. Would you like to plug your socials and your Etsy shop so where people can find you?
One more question before that.
Oh.
Your podcast, what's the deal? Are you still podding?
Oh man. Yeah. Okay. So I did for a while, and then I kind of fell out of it, and I ended up
Yeah.
getting like I had a surgery, and there was some
Oh, okay.
complications, and I like fell off the wagon, and then deadlines, for books.
Yeah.
So once I power through those deadlines and give my editors what they are owed, I will be jumping back on the podcast wagon, and that is just you can find that. That's the Acoustic Alchemist podcast.
Great
It's
podcast.
all on the stuff, and my shop is also called the Acoustic Alchemist, which is an apt name since I'm a magician and a musician,
Yeah.
sometimes in reverse order.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll be doing that. If anybody is going to the Mystic South conference this year in Atlanta,
Hmm.
um, I'll be there doing a class called The Politics of Angels. And we're also going to be there as the musical guest. I'm
Oh,
going with
nice.
Awesome.
I've got an Irish band called the Mac and Cheese Band.
Oh, wow. You guys check that out.
So we're gonna be jigging and reeling and doing all that stuff down in Atlanta. So if you guys want to come to Mystic South, you can join us and
What are the
put your
dates?
dancing shoes on.
What are the dates for it?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. It's in July sometime.
Okay, July. You guys check it out. Look it up.
July.
Show up. Atlanta's nice that time of year also.
Yeah, it's the same week as the World Cup, so it's gonna be a little nutso down there, but
Oh, yeah.
should make for a fun time.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
You can
again,
find me on socials, just Emrys Abner. I'm the only one.
Oh, lucky you.
So
well, no, definitely check out Emrys. And again, I want to really thank you for being on the show. And hopefully you'll come back, whether it's for your books or, again, for the Angels and Demons talk. I think that will be really special for our guest because, again, there's just so much, with religion out there that's saying don't do any of the stuff that we've talked about tonight. And, it's like just staunched in people's cerebellum as far as just never, don't even think about it. Don't even look at it. Don't even, he's wooing you to try this, but you're not, supposed to. All those things. And especially in the African American community, it's like, all this stuff is like totally forbidden. And I think it's just keys that are there if you want to turn the lock and open the door and really see what's going on. You're the guy to talk to, the guy to read your books, and you're on the right side of what's going on out here, and you have to seek and find for yourself, and that's the biggest thing. That's why we do the pod, is to try to enlighten people and bring a different reality or a different look on what's out there, because again, religion is, man, it's just so tough to get past anything other than go to church, listen to the preacher, listen to the priest, don't ask questions. You can only find God through a particular person or source opposed to yourself. That's crazy to me.
yeah,
Man.
it is, because I would say if you look at how large and strange the universe is, and you're telling me in that huge, large, strange universe, God makes one path?
Yeah.
No way, man. No way. It's got to be weirder than that. The universe is always weirder than that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, all right. That was the show. Awesome.
Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
thanks so much for coming on. Yeah, I thought this was really eye-opening. Yeah, I really enjoyed talking to you.
Look forward to the episode when it comes out, and then look forward to the future episode when these two play the Ouija board for the first time, or
Yeah, I want to
Amy
know
for
how
the
that
second
turns
time,
out.
and Bobby for the first time.